So the unit circle is something that gives you a ton of information in a very small picture. What you're looking at is being able to calculate values of sine, cosine, tangent, secant, cosecant, and cotangent for all of the angles that are listed on that circle very quickly. Okay, it just gives you an easy way to structure and memorize those because they are the most common angles that are used. All right, they're built directly. This circle is built directly off of the special right triangles. Okay, so one. Let's take a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and we're going to say the hypotenuse is 1. Okay, the hypotenuse on all these will be 1. So what would the short leg length be? If you have a 1 hypotenuse, remember we went over this just a minute ago. What?
1 in the square root of 2.
This is a 30, 60, 90. Divide by 2, right?
Oh, wow.
Okay. You have a short leg, multiply by 2 to get the hypotenuse, right? Okay, how do I get the long leg? Multiply by root 3. So we have root 3 times a half, right? Which is root 2 over 2. Okay. So can you calculate, let's say, the cosine of 60?
Isn't that opposite of
Nope. Remember, cosine is ca.
the adjacent?
Okay, so 1/2 over, which is half, right? Okay. And what's the sine of 60?
Root 3
Yeah, root 3 over 2 over 1, right? It's opposite over hypotenuse, so just root 3 over 2. So it's to our advantage that the hypotenuse is 1. Makes it easier, right? Okay, here's what's really neat. We throw this triangle in a coordinate grid. What are the coordinates of this point?
Well, 1/2.
1/2, root 3 over 2. So what does this represent? Yeah, it's the x, but it's also cosine at 60. So we have this point here, which this is the cosine at 60, and what's this one? It's the sine at 60, right? You okay with that? Those match. Cosine and sine is the coordinates. Yeah? No?
Yeah.
All right. We can do the same thing with the 45, 45, 90 triangle. Yeah, so we divide by root 2, correct? But that's kind of ugly. So multiply by root 2 top and bottom, we get root 2 over 2, and these match. So what's the, oh, I just catch up. I just get so excited. You guys are really excited today.
So the cosine and sine would be root 2 over 2.
They're both the same, yeah. So cosine 45 is root 2 over 2,
So
and sine is root
So this circle is just a coordinate plane, but it's just marking all the different triangles.
Yeah, exactly. And so we can throw that in the coordinate plane just like we did. What's this point? Right, and that is the cosine and the sine.
Oh,
We also do a 30-degree angle here. Right, we would have similar results.
yeah.
We could build the triangle, put it in the coordinate plane, and we have a coordinate. Right. Okay. So what you're looking at with the unit circle is it gives you the values of sine, cosine and sine for every angle there. So 0, 30, 60, or 30, 45, 60, 90, and then it just keeps going. Okay. So, but notice what the radius of that circle is going to be. Is going to be 1, right? That's what the hypotenuse length is for all those. So that's why we build it as the unit circle. Right? So, let me draw it accurately as possible. So we built our 45-degree, right? This coordinate was we also built our 60. We had half and root 3 over 2. Okay. And if we did a 30-degree build, here's what's really nice, it's the opposite of this one, right? Okay, so root 3 over 2, 1/2. So those are all those triangles, and we also have what happens at 0. Cosine is 1 and sine is 0. And at 90, you can also do 0, 1. So those are your 5 numbers. So you only have to remember 5 numbers. 0, half, root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, and 1. Okay, and now you can build the whole entire thing.
So it goes down, the y value becomes negative?
Yeah, and it's just a negative positive game at this point. So what you need to know, so this is all I ever have memorized, and I know that this is my cosine. So this cosine at 90 is 0, and the sine at 90 is 1, right? And that pattern follows the entire way around. Okay, there are some patterns here that, so you will, about once a month I give you a quiz on this. I put a blank one of those in front of you. A blank one of these. Where you fill it in. Okay. So it's one of the few things I ask you to memorize this year. Okay. Now here's about some tricks and tips. What do we start with for cosine? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? 0, 1, root 2, root 3. Those go in ascending order from 90 degrees down to 0 for cosine. Right, and then sine goes from bottom up, 0, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that's okay.
And it can be at they could all be roots, because root 0 is, root 1 is root 2, root 3, right? And they're all divided, or these are divided by 2. Those ones are not. Okay, so that's one way that I use to memorize this, is ascending and descending order. Okay. Another, if you're more of a geometric thinker, like if you find shapes a lot easier than anything else, this is really how I memorized it when I was your age. This is, which is shorter, the blue or the red? The red's shorter, right? So I'm going to have the smaller number in sine. Like the sine's the y value, so it's gonna be the shorter, and I know the shorter value is a half. Right, so you think spatially, the longer one's gonna be root 3 over 2. And then 45 if they're the same. Right, it's right in the middle, so they're gonna be the same, they're both root 2 over 2. Okay. You could do the same thing here. The sine is the long value now, so that's root 3 over 2. And the cosine is the short, cosine is 1/2. Okay. So take your pick, it doesn't matter. But, so a couple different ways they're using, you have a numerical and then you have a visual spatial. Okay. And then the last one that I just learned this a couple years ago, a student taught it to me, is the left hand trick. Okay. So you have your left hand, right? Look at that. 0, 30, 60, 30, 45, 60, 90, right? Okay, so what is the cosine at 60? So you got a 60 degrees, that's what you put this finger down, the 60 degree finger. Cosine is 1 over 2, 2 is your palm. Okay. Sine at 60 is root 3 over 2. Okay. Then you do 45, cosine's root 2 over 2, sine is root 2 over 2. And 30, cosine's root 3 over 2, and sine is 1/2. Okay. So, and then you have 0, right? Sine is 0. Okay. And then, there you go. So that's the hand trick. Unfortunately, it's really, maybe I could draw it. Should I draw it up for your classmates that we're going to watch the video later? But again, 3 different ways to memorize quadrant 1, right? And that's all you have to really memorize. Okay. The rest of it just builds off of that. So we continue. Okay, so 90 plus 30, we have 120, 135, 150, 180. These coordinates mirror except that your x is negative. And then you can just keep going. So both numbers are going to be negative here, right?
Oh, they're both negative there.
Because it's negative x, negative y, right? And then here you would have positive x, negative y, right? And it's all the same numbers, you just change the degree. So you'd have 210, 225, 240. Do you need me to keep going? You got the paper in front of you, so. Any questions? Adriana, what is the cosine of 150? Cosine 150. Negative root 3 over 2. Right? What is the secant at 150?
Negative 2 root 3.
Right? Because they're reciprocals. Right? So this is also the reciprocal of that is secant at 150. And you would want to simplify that, or negative 2 root 3 over 3, right? We could also do something like the tangent of 45. ideas?
The tangent of 45.
Yeah.
That might be 2 over, wouldn't it be 1?
How'd you get it?
Because I did root 2 over root 2 and multiplied it into 1. Because you square 4, you get
Because you.
It's confusing me.
I'm confusing myself.
Okay,
It's opposite over adjacent.
okay, so, yeah, if you have this triangle here, tangent's opposite over adjacent, right? Opposite over adjacent. The y over the x, so. Which is 1, right? So try tangent at 30. Is 30. What's tangent?
Maybe root 3. 1 root 3 over 3.
So opposite over adjacent, right? Y over x. And then simplify, we get 1 over root 3, which is root 3 over 3. So you can use this, I mean, it gives you the sine and cosine directly, but you can use it to find the other 4 if you need to. as well. Yeah. Is that right? A lot of cases of that like this today. Do you have any questions?
Nah, pretty much done.
Some people struggle with this initially, but pretty much everybody gets it. Because we spend so much time looking at it. Okay.
I got it.
Some people get it right away. All right. I wanted to leave you with enough time to get your homework done. Hopefully you will. So it's basically working with the unit circle. Right?
What about our homework last night?
Yeah. For the sake of your classmates, I think we'll just hold it until Tuesday.
Alright, lit. Look, we're dead.
No.
Try it.
Hey, Evan.
Hey. Let me know if you have any questions while you're working on it.
Every day. Go to bed at 12. Every day. I'm tired of working.
Are we training